Hey everybody, how's it going? We are starting the reading off with the Ten of Wands, which can mean that there can be a lot that's on your plate right now, and you can be putting your full focus into something to the point where it can be feeling maybe a little bit whatever this is that you have going on, because of the intensity of it, because of the intensity of the focus and the output, you can know that this is not something sustainable, but it may kind of just like require that amount of energy from you right now. Having the sun coming out can mean that you do get a boost of energy. I'm seeing an Ace of Cups. So you have a new chapter that's opening. This comes at a time when you can actually use this type of relief as well. Maybe you're doing something you feel like it's kind of thirsty work here. Having that Ace of Cups opening up. Okay. Whatever this was that you'd been going through, which feels like actually a pretty challenging time, the word durable is coming through. I'm seeing it come to an end. So whatever this was, this card, you see somebody, they're all alone, they're working in the field, it's late at night, like probably way past their bedtime, just kind of like, I gotta get stuff done, or I gotta make it through this, you know, like I don't really have time to stop. Whatever this was that you were going through, which felt like maybe so much to carry, having that Ten of Swords means that that cycle is closing out now. And having the sun come through and be that next card there, things can be getting a lot lighter. So maybe you were going through a period, it was feeling kind of dark to you, and now we have the sun and we have the Ace of Cups. So it can be something that feels like totally opposite from whatever this was that you were going through. I feel like you kind of paid your dues here with this. And I was also seeing Justice on the bottom of the deck, so that can mean that if something was wrong, if something was off, it can be being corrected. Something is coming up to be dealt with. Which maybe all of this was shedding light on some type of imbalance that had been going on that could have been really pulling on your energy in a lot of ways. So we have Ten of Wands, we have Ten of Swords, we have Three of Swords. This feels like going through something that can feel really hectic and needing some sort of recovery process. After the fact of this, it could have been something that maybe left you feeling like a little bit bruised or a little bit drained. And you can look at this and feel like you're going to need some time to kind of come back from this. Having Sun, having Five of Wands, having Four of Cups, there can be a part of you that feels in certain ways tired. And I think sort of coming back from what this was, for some of you, there can even be something physically that's been going on that you can be in the process of like recovering from now. Whatever this was, whatever this is, it can be emotional, it can be mental. There's this period after where there's kind of a regaining of balance, but I'm also seeing a new chapter that's starting. So if you go through something and it takes a lot of energy, and then you also have a new chapter that's starting that you feel excited about, you can have this kind of mix of feelings and movement here, where on one hand you're like, I'm kind of still recovering from this, on the other hand I'm excited about this thing that I'm getting into. So it can kind of feel like both at the same time that you're experiencing. But I think overall, like, if only the exciting chapter were happening, you may feel more excited. If only this draining thing were happening, you may just feel more drained. But because it's like a low and a high, I see you kind of looking at both of these things from maybe a bit of a more medium place than you normally would. So it's almost like there's some type of balancing each other out. But I do feel overall like you can be looking at things and feeling like they're getting better than they had been. Even though there's still stuff that's in the process of unfolding right now, you can be feeling like you're more equipped to be handling things than you were before. Like when all of this stuff was going on, that could have felt like it was kind of dragging you through the mud. You could have been in a space that maybe you could have been having a hard time finding it within you to move through that. But now that there's a recovery that's happening, you can be feeling again like you are more equipped to be dealing with things than you have been before. But it can still take a little bit of time for you to bounce back from this, is the way that it looks. It just feels like needing time, but that then all is going to be well again for the most part. I guess something that still looks like a bit of an issue in the environment, and you can be like, I'm just coming back from this thing. I don't want to have to deal with this. So there can be a little bit of that where you're looking at something and know that you're going to have to deal with it. But there can also be this part of you that's like maybe not in a rush to be dealing with that because you're still coming back from whatever this was that had been going on. I see you kind of turn your back to something that you know you are going to have to deal with, but you can be like, I need to recover from this first and then I can get to that. Like, it's not going to go away, but you can just not be, you can feel like you need to get some other things squared away, like get your ducks in a row first before you tend to this. I definitely see some type of change in the environment, which could have shifted your trajectory a bit, and that can also still be something that you're coming to terms with. And then the whole figuring out kind of where to go from here. But I see you getting the wind back underneath your wings, but you're still also dealing, you know, like if you go through something and it's a hard time that you're dealing with, and then you have a new chapter that's starting, you don't necessarily immediately feel like you're bounced back, because usually with the rubber band of the energy, you need some time to recover. So because of this, it can be something where maybe you don't feel 100%, maybe it's going to take a little bit of time, but I do see something coming into the environment that looks really exciting. But there can be a part of you that doesn't feel 100% excited, present, on board for this, only because you're still recovering from something here. So even though there's stuff going on, and I think also opportunities that you want, you can know that you're not 100% there because you're still dealing with the aftermath of whatever this was that had been going on, that you can still be feeling. And even though technically the situation can be over, there can be a part of you that's like still coming to terms with the fact that you were dealing with that was something that happened, that was going on. And so it's just going to take a little bit of time here. It feels very normal for everything that I'm seeing. And I think slowly you're going to feel like the color coming back, like into your vision and into your breath and into the way that you're seeing things overall. But you just need to give yourself some time to like unwind and to download a little bit. And then it feels like you're just going to be good as new overall. I think the key to this is for you to allow yourself the time that you need to kind of bounce back. I'm seeing a Queen of Wands energy, and I'm also seeing Page of Wands. So this can mean that you may like to be more out and about, having more movement, creativity, inspiration, excitement within the energy, kind of like feeling good about yourself and where you are with things. This may be something where you don't feel like you're totally at your norm, but you have to give yourself time to kind of get back to there. And I think you're gonna get to that point and feel better than you had before. But this is definitely something that's gonna take some time to process. And as you do this, it feels like your sense of direction is gonna become more clear as well. But yeah, some of you can be dealing with maybe it can be like some type of healing that's happening. It can be a heartbreaking situation, or where there was some type of pain, some type of wounding. Like there can be something that has been feeling like a pressing matter that you've been dealing with. For many of you, I think this is going to be on the emotional front, but that doesn't discount this being able to be like something physical and mental as well. And going through an experience like this can maybe bring up parts of you where you're like, I didn't even know that that part of me still existed anymore. You know, like maybe it's a part of you that comes out when you're dealing with a type of situation like this. Maybe it was a part of yourself that you haven't dealt with in a long time, and it's coming out and you're like, yeah, that's still there. You know, it can be just a part of you that may be difficult to kind of sit within the energy, but whatever this situation was, I think that it highlighted that part of you. Maybe a part of you that feels like more impacted by your environment as well, and what it is that you're going through. I do see a readiness for you to expand, but I see that like truncated a little bit by this thing that you're moving through on the mental and emotional front. So yeah, overall, I'm just seeing that you need to give yourself time. The word flashback is coming through. You just need to give yourself a little bit of time here, because I'm seeing like a full recovery that's going to be happening. But maybe in order for you to keep things where you need them to be, it can take a lot of energy. Maybe this is kind of like, if I was only dealing with my normal stuff, I wouldn't be feeling overextended, but because I have to deal with my normal stuff and kind of like maintain or upkeep that, and I also have to deal with this heavy thing too, that can be where you start feeling like you can't maintain this continuously, and you can be like, oh, I just like want this situation to be over, or I just want to feel better again, something like that. Give yourself time to move through the energy. Make sure that you're taking care of yourself, because this can be showing you where it's really important, like where you need to nurture yourself, where you need to show up for yourself, where your battery may be running low and you need to get that extra charge. And before you know it, things are going to feel like they're moving once again. So I think overall it's showing you a situation where something is happening. It's not your norm to be going through this. You're going to need some time to recover from it, and then you're going to be back to feeling regular and normal again in a way that you may not right now. Everything comes to pass. So I think just reminding yourself of that and not being hard on yourself here. Like, let yourself have your process. Normalize how you need a recovery period after going through something like this too. And just give yourself that grace to really come back. And take care of yourself like you're somebody that you love as you move through this. Because I see some really exciting things up ahead that doesn't look... This looks like it's pretty much in front of you. I'm seeing something going on where there's a lot of excitement surrounding this, and I think your focus is slowly going to be turning to that. This is going to be giving you something to do, and it's something that's right up your alley, is the way that this is coming through for you. And I think this is going to be lifting a bit of a block that you've been experiencing as well, where something that you want is becoming more accessible to you in a big way. So I'm seeing you head straight towards something that feels significant, something that feels quite important, actually. And maybe also too, part of this process highlighted something very important to you about maybe some significant goal or goals that you have. All right, we are going to leave the reading here. I would like to thank everyone for connecting and tuning in. I'm sending everybody love, and I hope to catch you guys next time.